Hello everyone, it's DiFusionGaming here for another episode of TWD. Now in this episode, I'm going to be talking about the time my bike was stolen. But I'm not just going to be talking about that, I'm also going to be talking about a lot of other bike stories. So yeah, the stolen bike story will probably be around the end of the video, but yeah, there's a lot of stories to go by. Now this video, hopefully it's better than the last ones. Because I said in the last episode, in case you haven't seen it, but I'm going to be doing TWD every other week now. So this gives me more time to think of ideas, and it gives me more time to actually make it. Usually around the end of TWDs, when I'm making them, I'm kind of rushed at the very end because I didn't really get much time. Because the TWD series takes a lot longer to make than every other series on the channel. So I need a bit more time on it. But yeah, I'll be talking about bike stories. Now just so you know, the old bike I had, I was going to tell you about it real quick. So it had one brake that didn't work properly, so you need to push down really hard for it just to work a little bit. So if you're going downhill, braking is really difficult. And that info will be important in a later story. Now I'll give you some more info for the next story, or for the first story. One of the rules a long time ago was I wasn't allowed to leave the road by my house. So most of it would just be me riding back and forth on one stretch of road. I mean, this did make sense because I was still really young. And I'd also have to ride on the sidewalk. Well, at least for a while. Eventually I was allowed to ride on the road. But yeah, now it's time for the first story. I think this story took place around grade 4, I think. I might not have all the times accurate for all these stories. I'm just basing this off of my memory, but yeah, I was invited to ride bikes with 4 other people, but I only really remember one person who was there. But yeah, I asked my mom if I could ride with them. She said yes. I'm like, yes. But what I really should have asked was, can I ride with them and leave the street? Because at this time, I still wasn't allowed to leave the street, but for some reason, when I asked that, I thought it was okay for me to leave the street. So I ended up riding the bikes away from the road. I mean, it wasn't that far. It's like no longer than 1 minute away. So because it was just around the area, but I remember, yeah, I rid with them for a while, and I remember getting home, my mom getting after me for leaving the street. But yeah, that was the time I left the road. I know, it's a very exciting story. Now, some point between the story I just said and the story I'm about to talk about, I was allowed to leave the road, so I don't remember when, but some point between there, I was allowed to leave the road and bike wherever. Now, my next story takes place in grade 6. It was a grade 6 field trip. When I was in grade 6, it was actually a grade 6-7 split class. And the grade 7s are with the grade 6s, so they're all just sharing the same class. And one of the trips the grade 6s and 7s did at the time was we would bike to the beach. So everyone would bring their bike and we'd all bike to the beach. I don't remember if we stayed at the beach. We probably did for a while. But yeah, we were all kind of like on the road, and it's like a long row of bikes. So if anyone crashes, well, yeah, anyone crashes, everyone crashes. So just don't mess up. But that was pretty scary for me because I knew how bad my brakes was at the time. So it's like, okay, if the person in front of me suddenly stops, this is not good. But I survived. But yeah, we went there, and on our way back, I was one of the first people back. Like, there was already like 2 or 3 people back when I got to the classroom. And I don't know why, but everyone was really surprised when I made it back that early. One person even asked me if I biked the whole time. I guess I was that one quiet skinny boy, so nobody thought I was capable of biking that long. But I did. Never underestimate the skinny kid. Now this is another story I remember very well. Now this is the info about the brakes not working properly. So that info is important for this story. So yeah, I was biking downhill, and then all of a sudden, like, I'm just pedaling, and then suddenly the pedals start like going really fast for some reason. So like, there's like no force at all. I look down and notice my chains are disconnected. So I had like a single chain that's connected on the whole bike, and it gets unhooked. So I was going fast down the hill, so my brakes was not useful at all. I pushed it down as hard as I could, but it would not stop. So yeah, I remember just going down that hill, And it was on a road as well. So I was going down the road, but it was like a hill. So when I hit the bottom, I don't know why, but I flew off the bike and I landed on the road. Luckily there were no cars, because that would have been bad. But yeah, when I remember just like laying on the road and noticing that a piece of the bike broke off. And I don't know what it is exactly. It's like a little square thing. I don't know exactly. Basing this off of my memory, I'm assuming it's something that kind of reflects light. So if you're riding at nighttime and a car is driving behind you, it'll reflect the lights back so they can see you better. That's my guess, because I had one in the front and the back. But the front one fell off, but I don't really ride at night. So if that is what it's for, then it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I think this is the only time I crashed. Or at least the only time I crashed this badly. But yeah, always wear a helmet. Alright, so now we're moving on to a newer bike. So this new bike I got was actually my older brother's bike. It was way, way, way better than the other bike I just had. And by the time I was done with the old bike, I was actually starting to get too small for it. My knees were starting to bang the handles. But yeah, let's talk about this bike. It had 2 brakes, one for each wheel. But I was always afraid to use the front tire brakes because I was always thinking I would go flying off of it if I used it. So if I was going at a fast speed and used my front brakes, I was always afraid I would like flip forward or something. So I rarely used it. Maybe if I was going slow I would. But yeah, I only used the back brakes. And it had gears. The other bike, the old bike didn't have gears. This one actually did have gears, so that was nice. But yeah, that's basically all you need to know about the new bike. Now this is a fun game that I would play with one of my friends. So me and my friend Riley lived near each other, so we would bike together sometimes. One of the things we did a few times, was play like a hide and seek game around the area. So we would have like a set area to hide in. So we'd like get a bunch of roads and say like, okay, we have to stay within this area. So we're not like, I mean, if the area's too large, that game would last forever. But yeah, one person would count for like a minute or something, while the other person would bike somewhere. And you had to stay on your bike while riding. Or while hiding, I mean. And you had to stay outside. I think those were the rules. I'm not too sure. So one time it was my turn, so I biked somewhere and hid behind a bush. But if you get the right angle, you can see me. I think that might have been another rule too, where you had to be in view. I'm not sure. But yeah, I was waiting there for a while, and I remember seeing him pass me about like 2 times without noticing me. So he was riding by me 2 times. So after he passed twice, and he didn't show up for a long time after that, it got to a point where I was wondering if he was even looking for me anymore. Because I've been standing there in the bike for that long. So I ended up just leaving and biking around to look for him. But yeah, I did find him. But he wasn't like looking in the area that I was anymore. He was looking in a different area. So yeah, I was standing there for quite a long time. Another time I was looking for Riley, and I was looking for a long time. This is like the other way around. I don't think I was looking as long as he was looking for me. But it was still a long time. So I've rid around for a long time. And apparently he was hiding underneath a big tree. So the shadow of the tree was covering him. So it made it hard to see when I was just biking by. But yeah, that's the hide and seek story. I know there are probably a few more stories with Riley in it, but that's all I could think of at the moment. One thing that'll be really annoying when riding your bike is when your tires are deflated. So yeah, you'd be like, okay, getting ready to bike, it's a good temperature outside. Good winds. And then look, oh wait, my bike's deflated. Well, that sucks. And what would be even worse is when someone's waiting for you. So like, okay, yeah, let's go biking. Go back, tires deflated. It's like, I have to deal with this. This isn't much of a story. I just wanted to include it. Alright, now the moment you've all been waiting for. The stolen bike. Now this time I haven't biked for a few months actually. And just so you know, I always leave my bike in the backyard. Not in the house. So yeah, one day, Riley's mom was actually at the house. And then, the strangest thing, she noticed that the bike was gone. Because the bike just disappeared for some reason in the backyard. I guess someone went back there and took it. But yeah, it was very strange because his mom is the one who noticed the bike was missing. You'd think me, my mom, or anyone else who lives at the house would be the one who noticed. But nope. she comes over and points out that the bike isn't there. Which is very strange, because that's someone I wouldn't expect to notice a bike was gone. But yeah, that's going to end this episode of TWD. Hope you enjoyed. And for the question, have you ever crashed on your bike or had your bike stolen? Make sure to leave that in the comments below. But yeah, that's going to be it, so goodbye.